My wife told me to trash every memory of my late wife, then called me manipulative for moving them. I married Nadia 3 years after my first wife, Joan, died without warning. Joan and I were together for 8 years, married for 4, and we never had kids. I still keep a few pieces from that life. Our wedding photos, some home videos, small gifts, and her record collection. I don't leave them out. I keep them in 2 big chests in the basement. When I lift a lid, the dust smells like old paper and cold basement air. I almost never open them. Every year on Joan's birthday, I go to her parents' house. We tell stories, watch old videos, play her songs, and laugh at bad photos. They've asked to meet Nadia, and have always said she's welcome. She won't come. I don't push her. Nadia says those boxes make her feel like she's in a contest she can't win. Because of that, I try hard not to add to her fear. I don't bring Joan up. I changed my last name back before I met Nadia. I stopped wearing my old ring and marking Joan's anniversaries. I keep our house clear of old habits and keep my grief for therapy. Most days it's quiet. Then yesterday she pulled 2 of Joan's paperbacks off our shelf. I had missed them when I cleaned the bookcase. She held them up and said I left them there to spite her. She said I don't love her and want my first wife back. I told her I do love her, and it's unfair to pretend I could ever say I'm glad she died. Nadia said if I love her, I'll throw out every memento and skip the birthday gathering. She said we never had kids, so there's no reason to save any of it. Then she went silent and said she wouldn't talk to me until I proved it. I didn't put Joan into our daily life. I never tried to make Nadia feel like the other woman in her own house. The one time I invited her to the birthday, it was because she accused me of spending the day pining. I told her it's food and stories, not a shrine, and asked her to see for herself. She said no. I asked again for Tom's wedding and for my nephew's birthdays. She said no to both. I took it to therapy. My therapist helped me write down simple points and boundaries so I could be kind and clear. We made a plan. Ask Nadia to try counseling, move the chests to storage, stop tiptoeing, and say what I need. With those notes in my pocket, I told Nadia we need marriage counseling, and that this time, it isn't a debate. I also said I was moving the chests to storage so the house wouldn't feel like a test. Joan's brother, Tom, offered to help me haul the boxes to his parents' garage. When Tom walked in, Nadia stepped out of the den and lost it. She tried to block the door and said I was breaking her trust by asking for help. She said Tom and I were acting like family when we aren't family anymore. She said the chests were ours, even if the contents were mine. She called me manipulative for not trusting her with my things. I told her again, counseling is not negotiable, and I won't throw away my past. Tom kept his voice calm and stood between us while I carried boxes up the stairs. Nadia tried to tug one from my hands. I set it down and stepped back. I wasn't going to fight my wife over a box in my own hallway. She said I was picking the dead over the living. I said I was picking truth over pretending. We loaded the car. I took one last look at our living room and felt more tired than angry. I left with Tom. At his place, I put the boxes in a corner and sat on the floor. My phone lit up with calls and long messages. I let it buzz on the table and tried to breathe slow. I hadn't meant for it to end with me leaving the house. Not today. A week later, we spoke on Zoom because I didn't want to walk back into another scene. She moved between crying, yelling, and begging, then said she'd try marriage counseling and see a therapist on her own. I told her I'm not asking her to come to gatherings, but I need her to accept that Joan's parents, brother, and nephews are my family. I told her I met them when I was barely 18, long before any marriage, and they stayed close when I became a widower. I said I'd work to build the same kind of bond with her siblings if she wanted that. She said no. She said she will never be okay with my ties to them, and she will never call them family. She said what I have with them is only friendship and should stay outside our marriage. I listened and then told her the line I can't cross. I will not erase 8 years of my life to keep a peace that only holds if I lie. I will do counseling. I will set rules that help her feel safe. I will move triggers out of the house, but I won't throw out my history or cut off people who held me up when I was at my lowest. She asked again for proof. I told her proof is how I show up each day, not a pile of things in a bin. She repeated her demand. I told her I heard her answer. Then I ended the call. The screen went black. The phone started buzzing again. I set it face down and sat still. Now people are saying I'm petty for moving keepsakes out. Was I wrong for it?